But let's pass after you, Stefano. There is always a nice lady coming. So you will have we have a
Thank
nice
you.
lady taking the floor right now. She is the chairwoman of the Hellenic Capital Markets Commission. She's a lawyer, admitted in both in Athens bar, Supreme Court lawyer, and New York bar. And she's an expert in capital markets banking and as well in mergers and acquisitions. Mrs. Vassiliki Lazarakou is with us, I think, and I'll hand it to her. Good morning, Mr. Chairwoman.
Good morning. How are you? Thank you very much for the invitation. And I would like to congratulate you one more time for choosing this topic because for us, for the Commission, and I think for the Greek market in general, corporate governance is of fundamental importance. And let me start by saying that from the first moment, the new board of directors of the Capital Market Commission, actually that was appointed last year, one of the things that we set as priority was the amendment of the corporate governance law, because we believe that corporate governance should be seen and should be reviewed in a way that will attract, as you mentioned, and I agree, fully agree with you, as a way in order to attract investors, especially international investors, in Greek listed companies. So the framework that already existed was already old, and one of the main things that we initiated was the amendment of this framework in order to modernize it and have, let's say, and give it and give some further mechanism that would help the operation of the listed companies. So we were very satisfied that this became a law and was enacted on 17th of July 2020, and includes this law, the corporate governance law, has very important provisions regarding corporate governance of the Greek companies listed on the Athens Exchange. So this law, I was starting to say that we're very satisfied because this law was actually accepted very broadly by the Hellenic Parliament, and it is the first law since, let's say, this year that was voted by 4 out of 5 political parties, which shows that there is a general recognition that this initiative by the Commission had to take place in order to modernize the capital market environment. Let me just highlight some very important changes to show why that was of major importance and why this helps the capital market environment in Greece. I want to start by saying that we did first a research to see which were and exactly the inefficiencies of the existing framework, and on the basis of this research, we then proposed the relevant amendments. So let's see the major changes. First, we try to strengthen and that we believe that we will succeed in this, the unit of internal audit, mainly by both increasing the auditors' required professional standards and by enhancing the unit's administrative and operational functions. We have seen in the past that there were the auditors that were working in this unit were not really full-time all the time, were not of high professional standards. So by what we try to do is change this in order to make sure that the internal audits really perform their supervisory duties within the company. The second major, let's say, change that we tried to do was to have a more efficient structure of the board of directors of the listed companies. And I have to say that we also included a provision, a new provision, according to which we try to stimulate the gender equality. So we require the boards to have a 25 minimum percentage per gender. So that was a very first, it was the first thing that something like that happened in Greece. So we're very happy for this. So the Commission in general now, about the synthesis of the board, let's say, of directors, what we try to see is that we try to make sure that the independent members, we try to expand the criteria according to which the independent, let's say, the board members were characterized as independent, because we saw that in practice there were many irregularities. So we try to, let's say, see how we can make it a more strict framework so that we can have really independent members. For example, we had as a measure the absence of close-tied or business relationship with a company or an affiliated extended to 3 years instead of 1 year. So we try to have more stricter, let's say, independence criteria. Overall, what we gave emphasis, and the law gives emphasis, is on the overall strengthening of the role of independent board members, because such independent board members need to participate dynamically in the decisions, in the decision-making process of the company, and also we have the law provides that they are members of the several committees that are provided for in the law, such as the Remuneration Committee and the Nomination Committee. Another thing is that we try to have, the law has a requirement for the internal regulation which describes the functions and the policies in a better ways in order to make sure, we emphasize, in order to make sure that the procedures to be followed will cover the need for transparency and the minority shareholders' rights. Also, as I mentioned, there is a new obligation to have new committees, such as, or one committee or either two committees for the remuneration and for the nomination and the selection of the board members. With respect to the funds raised through the market, the law expands the obligation to provide information also to bond loans. Furthermore, there was a significant change in the sanctions in case there is a breach. So all this provide another environment that we hope that will give more transparency to the market. But more, and I have to say that the Commission per se took a lot of actions in respect of this draft law. Why? Because of the law, actually, because it was enacted. So why? Because we have the authorization to publish guidelines and clarifications and regulatory decisions in respect of specific issues. So I have to tell you that we are, the law gave a deadline of 2 months in order for the Commission to publish these regulatory decisions, and we're going to have them approved by the Board of Directors this Friday on 18th of September within the deadline set by the law. And by this, we hope that we have help assist the companies have a clear understanding of what the law says. Our aim is to ensure that by those decisions, we will eliminate any ambiguities and therefore create an efficient new framework of corporate governance in Greece. What is, however, of major importance, and as I said, I agree with you, is that, in my view, we need to make sure that all market participants understand that an optimal corporate governance environment primarily benefits the listed companies themselves. Why? For two reasons. One, because it gives them the possibility to adapt policies that will help them, will assist them in operating more efficiently. And second, because by this framework, they can become more attractive for investors, and especially the international ones, who always give a lot of importance to corporate governance. So we really believe, and we do hope, that the new framework will be the basis for further strengthening the Greek capital markets.
Mrs. Lazarakou, Mrs. Chairwoman of the Hellenic Capital Markets Commission, thank you very much for your opening remarks.